So I'm here in New York City and I'm going to visit Tempest, best known as the virtual magician, who combines video, computer graphics, and other innovative technologies with the art of magic.
Okay, my name is Tempest. I'm a techno-illusionist, so I try to blur the lines between technology and traditional magic, like mixing the incredibly real with the incredibly unreal.
How old were
Well,
you?
I started magic when I was a little kid and just stuck with it, I guess, and enjoyed it. Kind of, as time went on, I tried to bring in my own likes into magic, which is technology, I guess.
So I saw that you won when you were 22 the World Cup of Magic. Is that correct?
Right, yeah.
So,
Magicians have these kind of competitions, like so the World Cup of Magic was like one of those. It's very hard to measure, obviously, if you how good somebody is, but it's a really nice starting point. It kind of launches you into venues you would not have access to.
so what took you into technology then?
I think as artists, magic somewhat is art. It's very crafty, but it's art as well. So I think as artists we should incorporate whatever we love into our art. So for me, it's I love to be surrounded by gadgets, and so to use that in my work it's just a very natural fit.
How long have you been into augmented reality?
Well, augmented reality kind of has been around for quite a while. And the technology only recently has come around that it's actually possible to do it. So what I've been doing is I've been doing virtual augmented reality for a really long time, for about 15 years now, which is basically I pretend that I have a piece of software which does something by like sticking my hand in a TV or walking in and out of television screens or painting things on screens, which way back then were just like videotapes playing and me kind of doing choreographed movements, like imagining there would be something like mirror worlds or augmented reality. It's really only since about 2 years that I've been kind of able to create stuff which is truly interactive, more than just non-linear video playback, stuff which uses computer vision and sensors and this and that.
So I haven't seen any other virtual augmented magicians. So you mentioned students earlier that come by. Is that more academic students, or are these students that say, hey, I want to also learn how to be a virtual magician? Or
well, I have a very open house policy at my place. So if somebody intrigues me in what he wants to do and he wants access to maybe shoot video or use gear which is here, I'm very open for, let's say, collaborations or to have house guests in that sense, or interns, or whatever you want to call it. I myself, I'm not really a hacker or a programmer. I know a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I create teams, project based. I bring in people to help me kind of create the things I would love to create in a collaborative environment. But yeah. And another instance, for example, of kind of finding students or finding people who are inspired and want to learn is I did a series of YouTube videos. I have this YouTube channel with about 27 million views, and so there are a lot of requests coming from there, and a lot of times it's very unspecific. It's people saying, hey, I love what you're doing, and is there any way I could help out? Yes, of course, that's fun. It's actually it's great to work with people which not necessarily are super sophisticated technologically. Of course, it's great to have great talent, but it's also great to work with people who are enthusiastic and are inspired. And so people come and they are part of projects and for maybe a month or a few weeks or a year, and then they go on and they do their own stuff. So it's kind of, traditionally magic is a handed down art form. There is this like student teacher or master apprentice relationship, and it works really well in magic. Magic is something which is much easier to learn from somebody than from an online tutorial or a DVD.
With you, what kind of technical collaborators would you be looking for then?
Well, obviously, for augmented reality, computer vision, markerless tracking, face detection, things like that are things which fascinate me. Also, there seems to be quite a lot of people who are really getting into the coding side of things with tools like open frameworks, where you have this like super powerful tools somehow simplified through this like layer of open framework. So you can, if somebody knows C++, they're pretty quickly they will be able to create these AR applications. On the technological side, like the systems integration side, there are not many people. So if it comes to what is the best camera with the highest frame rate, which will take the least toll on your system in regards on processing time, or how to build a robotic arm which could interact with a camera, things like that. There seems to be not a lot of talent in that field, where it's like this hardware software integration field, and I'm really interested in what you call like builders, people who can make things, people who can make something like this look better, which is just a PS3i toy like hot glued to a pair of sunglasses, which is very intriguing too. But of course, a high-speed camera, which does, maybe 300 frames or 50 frames a second would also be nice, and better optics would be nice, and maybe a slick way so I could actually see the video coming out of this inside the glasses. So I'm really looking for builders, and I'm always looking for people who want to collaborate creatively, on the music side, illustration, photography, editing, motion graphics, pretty much all that stuff which blends into augmented reality.
I would imagine with the amount of YouTube views that you have and things like that, you must have a huge pool of like just international like people that would want to collaborate and things like that. Or do you see it? So do you see it as a international interest when you get these messages, or is it kind of located to a specific region, or?
It's really a global community, I guess, and I travel a lot myself, and I like to perform at places where other people who make stuff perform, like the Make shows or the Gadget Off here in New York, or the TEDx events. I did a thing at TEDx Tokyo for the second year in a row, and so these kind of events are really good places to meet people who do the same kind of things I do. There's a get-together here in New York, the Augmented Reality New York Meetup, Arnie, which is a fun place to hang out, where we met. So there are lots of places, but there's also, you mentioned YouTube, and the real interesting thing for me about YouTube is that I can actually workshop something. I can take something and put it on YouTube and say, hey, this is Mark, I'm here in my workshop, something I'm working on, what do you guys think about it? And within hours I get, a few hundred messages, comments on it, and I get a very good read of, this is something which possibly could be good, or this is just crap, and I better take the video down before more people, make fun of it. Sure. So in that way, it's a really great way, and it's very, in a way, it's not the traditional way a magician would work. We magicians, we work really hard, and we practice, and then we polish it, and then we go out and we do it in front of local audiences. And so with YouTube now, you have this global audience, and you have this global wave of feedback, which can be good or bad, but it's definitely a good indicator of if you're up to something or not.
Now, I'm sure it varies from trick to trick, but what is the usual average amount of time that it takes for you to kind of from concept to, hey, I'm about to show you a virtual magic trick?
Well, I always have a lot of things kind of cooking parallels. There's like a high-speed camera and a little robot arm, and still working on the tracking algorithms for the projection, augmented reality planes, projection tracking. So typically, once something gets ready to be produced, it might take between 2 and 6 months for it to be completed. And it always involves software engineering and building of props and collaboration with musicians or writers or costume constructions, or there's a lot of elements involved, and it can use up a lot of time before you know it 6 months are over.
Right.
Well, recently I've been doing a lot with open frameworks, so it's Zachary Lieberman, which is one of the creators of open frameworks. I'm very fortunate that he's working with me, so he's typically the software engineer and the creator of the code, and then I work with a musician. Typically, sometimes there's voiceovers involved, so to find voiceover talent, to do the voices and stuff. A lot of the artwork I do myself. I like to piddle with computer graphics, and the props I build myself typically, unless it's something very complex, and then I will try to find a prop builder or tool maker or something of that sort. So the team is typically like 5, 6, 7 people maybe, but in the end there's always going to be, you know, it's typically like 20 people you want to thank when the thing is over. The people who were like kind enough to take your phone calls in the middle of the night going, hey, I have something, what do you think about this? Is this a good idea or not? Or kind of, there's also a lot of, you know, you need feedback from people which might not do things for you except be your, you know, your feedback.